plus 4 and doing a video check for that using slope and y-intercept. If you haven't graphed it yet, pause the video and graph away, and then come back in with your checking pen, and we will go through the graphing part of it and then also the checking part. So the first thing I notice with these is we have our y-intercept. And for y-intercept, it's a coordinate pair 0, 4. We also have our slope, which we need to write down change in y over the change in x, which equals negative 3/2. Now, the things that I'm looking for, or we are looking for, are that it's a coordinate pair, so you get a check mark for the 0 and a check mark for the 4. If you just only have the 4, you have 1 check mark out of 2 for that. So you have to have that coordinate pair. Don't forget your parentheses. You also need to have that change in y over the change in x for your slope, and the slope with that. So now we can plot our first point, the y-intercept of 4, which is on our y-axis right here. So look at your graph. Does your line go right through that point? 0, 4. And not to be mixed up with 4, 0 over here. Now we're going to use the slope of negative 3, which is the change in y. So we're going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the right, because it's positive 2, 2 units, and you get another point. Continue down that slope, 3 down, to the right 2. 3 down, to the right 2. 3 down, to the right 2. And if we go 3 down more, we're right off the graph, so that's our last point on the graph on this side. So what we will be looking for, and I'll be looking for, is point at 8, negative 8. So check to make sure that you have that point right there. If you do, give yourself another check mark right there. If not, you're going to have to make that correction and figure out where you went wrong, maybe on your slope or your y-intercept. Going the other direction, we go left 2, which would be a negative 2, and up 3. So if we think about our slope, that negative would slide down here to the denominator as a negative 2, which means our rise would be a positive 3. So negative 2, positive 3, and I can get one more of those slopes on my graph, so I can get right to that edge, which is great. So that point right there we would be looking for is negative 4, positive 10. So look on your graph, and do you have that point, negative 4, positive 10? Give yourself a check mark. Now we're going to use our ruler and line up those crosshairs. And it's a little tricky for me, so give me a few minutes here and I'll make sure it's all lined up. Ooh, I got way off on that one. And there we go. So what you're looking for, what we're looking for on this, did you use a straight edge? Is your line actually used with a straight? So give yourself a big check mark if you did. If you didn't, then you can't get a check mark on that piece. Also, did your line extend out and have an arrow on this side? Did it extend a little bit further than the graph and have an arrow on that side? So what we're looking for is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 check marks. And for those 10 check marks, that's going to be what we're looking for graphing y equals mx plus b, 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 b,